Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we're still on the polity. And before we went on that video break, we were talking about KOGI state election. Today, we'll be analyzing INEC's preparedness for the KOGI state election. But before we get into that, let's talk about KOGI state elections and the party politics going on, of course. And today, joining us in the studio is Atiku Abubakar, the spokesperson for Accord Party. And of course, that happened about a few days back. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you for having me.
I think it's good to tell you congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk about preparing for the KOGI elections. What are the preparations your party has been making as regards this coming election? Because of course, I mean, we've spoken about violence over and over again as regards this election, but I'm sure there is some good news apart from violence happening in KOGI state as regards election and party politics. Yes, the good news is that the SDP, which is the party that has been mostly involved with the violence, and then they have also accused the APC. Okay. They are already out of the race because the deputy governorship candidate, having been charged for forgery and having submitted a fake secondary school certificate, it means automatically that what affects the deputy governorship candidate will affect the governorship candidate. And so SDP is no longer in the race again. So it's going to be a straight fight. As a court ruled against that? It's a forged certificate that has been submitted. The ruling will come up tomorrow. No, but we cannot totally assume that the court will rule it out, because of course we've had that case to in the national
There's level. Already a precedence. You will recall that the deputy governorship, the deputy governor of Lagos State elect of Bayelsa State.
Yes, okay, the governor-elect, yes.
Led to the disqualification of the governor-elect, and he was not sworn in. So since there's already a precedence from the highest court of the land, it means that SDP is no longer in the race. So it's going to be a straight fight between the APC and the Accord Party. So now with SDP out of the race, then this violence that has always erupted, it has gone. As far as I'm concerned, there will not be violence again as the election, the campaign progresses. So that's a good news now, and we are happy that, of course, Admiral Usman Jibrin, being a trained military officer who rose to become the chief of naval staff, is somebody who respects the law of the land, and he has always maintained that everything is done in a peaceful manner. He is a man of peace, and so the state is already witnessing that. And nothing like violence that has been seen during his campaign. Throughout his campaign, there has never been any attack on him or attack on any other political party by his supporters. That has not happened anywhere. Even when he just visited, he was in Ankpa with the governor. Unlike other candidates, he shook hands with the governor, gave the respect that is due to the governor of KOGI State, and they both were in attendance with the coronation of the Eje of Ankpa. And the video you showed was in KOGI Central, where the APC governorship candidate comes from. You can see the mammoth crowd that received him, and it was peaceful. Speaking about mammoth crowd, of course, you know that people always say something
as about November 11th,
them paying for crowd to appear for all of these things and all of that. So could it be said that way? It's easy to manipulate people to, of course, come out, and I feel like irrespective of what party is coming out, people would always get up. So far, you're a politician in Nigeria.
No any other candidate has been able to gather such crowd in KOGI Central, because APC's candidate is from KOGI Central. He is the only person that has been able to gather this crowd in KOGI Central. All other candidates will always gather crowd in their senatorial zone, not outside their senatorial zone. It is only the APC's candidate that can boast of crowd like this, because that is his home, where he comes from. But Admiral Usman Jibrin has been able to do that. It shows, like I said, it's a clear fight between the APC and the Accord Party.
And Accord Party. Okay, speaking about clear fight between APC and Accord Party, we had a guest last week and he mentioned something about zoning for Kogi State, and it caught my attention. He said the ADC party and the Senator Dino Melaye, that's from PDP, would be splitting votes from a certain zone. How would this affect your own governorship candidates in the said election? And then it feels like, oh, some persons are expecting an Ibiraman and then Oku, and then it looks like there's lots of back and forth about not just party, the zoning too. Looks like it's a major cause of attention. And he said there is nothing wrong with having someone rule for 16 years if we've had one person rule for 16 years. I'd like to get your take on this, and how do you think this would actually affect your party if zoning is actually put into consideration in all of this?
Nobody can put zoning into consideration at this time again, because all the senatorial zones have candidates.
Yeah.
And in the central, where APC's candidates come from, although he is the only person, but the two other zones have other candidates. But the KOGI East, which is the zone with the highest number of registered voters, really has just one person now, in the person of Admiral Usman Jibril, because the SDP candidate, who is also from KOGI East, is automatically out of the race because of the forgery, which there is already a precedence at the Supreme Court, which is the highest court of the land. So the SDP candidate being out of contest, it means Admiral Usman Jibril, the Accord Party's candidate, now will have an edge, which will translate into him being elected as governor, because the senatorial zone where he comes from has the highest number of registered voters, with all about 1 million registered voters, while Kogi Central, where the APC's candidate comes from, has over 400,000 registered voters. And the Kogi West, where Dino and Abejide come from, they have about 500,000 registered voters. So when you look at, you're talking about, they are contesting against a man who is almost a single man from a zone that has about 1 million registered voters. So how do you defeat such a man in this kind of election? We are not talking about zoning. Yes, anybody can contest, but you need the votes of the people. And if you are talking about the votes of the people, Admiral Usman Jibril already has an edge. Not only that he has an edge, he is the only candidate that is accepted in all the 3 senatorial zones. He has been able to visit all the senatorial zones peacefully. All the candidates have respect for him, because he is the most successful candidate.
Speaking about successful and of course antecedents, Admiral Usman Jibril is the former chief of naval staff. That was during President Jonathan's regime. And don't you think it begs the question of, when we say we recycle the same persons over and over again, don't you think it should step down for, people that have not been in power? He's had the taste of power. Don't you think this is one way to see it and say, oh, step down? Or do you think the respect is out of, oh, he was once there, or it's just a mutual respect thing?
It is the elders and those who matter in the state that because of the security situation in the state and his performance when he was chief of naval staff, because he was able to build a naval university in Delta State, brought a naval base to Lokoja in Kogi State, his state where he comes from, because of all the achievements during his time as chief of naval staff, that they have called upon him to come and contest. He has not been in politics before, and he's not a politician, but they called him so as to come and rescue the state from the security situation and to improve on the development that has been recorded in Kogi State. That is why he has been called upon. He did not stop others from reaching the peak of their career. They did not reach the peak of their career because they had no career. He joined the military and rose to the highest level in the military. He did not stop others from rising to the highest level of their own career. So now he has joined politics so that he'll be able to use the experiences he gathered and the training he received in the military, so as to be able to help Kogi State move forward. So he is coming to help Kogi State. He is not like other candidates who are coming for Kogi State to help them. He is coming to help the state. So that's a great difference.
Okay, what difference do you think it will give, given that he's a former, or he's a military person? What change would this bring on to the Kogi State generally, given even the level of insecurity we have right now? We can say, oh, the level of insecurity is due to the fact that the elections is coming, but then at the end of the day, what happens after elections?
He has the experience. Okay. He's a trained military man, meaning he can...
But that is not enough, because I beg to differ. During President Muhammadu Buhari's regime, he had the experience equally, but then that said administration has recorded one of the highest level of insecurity we have in Nigeria. So bringing to the table, bringing is an ex-military man to the table is not enough in this case. No,
the President Muhammadu Buhari is a totally different character in the sense that, in the words of Nasir El-Rufai, President Muhammadu Buhari was the only military general who failed all the promotional examination, and that is why you do not see suffixes like FSS, DSS, or also all those suffixes in his name. But in the case of Admiral Usman Jibril, all of this, he passed all the examination. So there's a difference. If you attended a class and failed, so of course people should not expect that you'll be able to do well. But this man has been able to pass all his military examination. President Muhammadu Buhari's case became a general as a result of quota system. So a quota system general cannot be compared to a competent general in the Nigerian army. So there's a great difference. So this one passed his examination. He is a trained, successful military general. Why President Muhammadu Buhari did not pass, he was able to fill in the space of Katsina because there were few generals at that time, and they needed to give Katsina State a general, and that was why, that is my own personal opinion. I was going to say, do you have facts back? But the only fact I have is that El-Rufai said that he didn't pass the promotional examinations when he was in the military, and he has been able to prove that he didn't pass. Because you cannot go to Nigeria Defense Academy and come and perform the way Buhari performed. All those, you can check Obasanjo. Up till this moment, the policies of Obasanjo we are still enjoying
them, yes.
Yes, you can see intelligence in the... even if you accuse President Obasanjo of corruption, but you can never take away his leadership capacity because he passed his examination before rising to become a general. So, but this one who did not pass proved that he actually did not pass because he couldn't perform. So, it's not anybody who passes the examination to become a general must be highly intelligent. There's no exception.
Now, could it be said that he didn't perform at all, or he underperformed?
Buhari?
Yes.
No, he didn't perform at all, because you cannot be a general and come and meet the insecurity in the land and there all the time. The only thing he did very well was to be able to say, I condemn in totality the attack by bandits. Anybody can condemn now. Anybody, even me, I condemn in totality. It's not that was the thing he was doing as president. I'm doing it now. So anybody could have done that. Condemn in totality. Garbashi will condemn in totality. So everybody was just condemning in totality. Those with gun are condemning in totality. Those of us without gun are condemning in totality. So they didn't do anything. It's not that he underperformed. He didn't even perform at all. I know he's regretting where he is now. He wasted 8 years of Nigeria, and that is why Tinubu, even though we are not giving excuses to Tinubu, but that is what is affecting Tinubu, because there is nothing for him to build on. There's nothing for him to build on. So I pity anybody that will just even come and take over the country at this moment, because the whole thing, he bastardized everything and left it like that. So any decision you want to take, you see that it will just be crumbling. So you cannot bring President Muhammadu Buhari and say he's a general. That one, if the Nigerian army will not be biased, they are supposed to strip him off of that rank and demote him so that they start calling him maybe Captain Muhammadu Buhari. Because at that level, it will suit him.
Okay, all right. Away from that, still speaking about Accord, your agenda is Kogi's unity. Can you expatiate more on what that means, Kogi's unity?
Yes, Kogi unity is very important. That's why we don't want to talk about senatorial zone, this and that again. And that's why I'm not condemning the guest that came on Friday also that was saying that if a zone has ruled Kogi State for 16 years, another zone also deserves to rule for 16 years. The only argument I have against that is that there's Kogi West that has not produced governor.
Okay.
at all. So what then become of Kogi West? But now it is not time for us to argue for or against. Let there be a peaceful election so that Kogas will decide who rule them. But when it comes to competence, we believe that Admiral Usman Jibril has it, and that is just the selling point he has, and that is what we are hammering on. We are not talking about this zone or that zone. Let's see how Kogi State can move forward. Yes.
Okay, apart from unity, I'd like you to speak about salary. And our last guest equally made mention that there's been an antecedent, or let's say precedent, of backlogs of unpaid salaries even before the Yahaya Bello's regime. What do you think your principal?
You know, we have been criticizing Governor Yahaya Bello about salary, but that is a fact. There has been backlog of salaries, paid salaries,
okay.
Right from the time of Ibrahim Idris. Ibrahim Idris ruled before Captain Idris Wada. During Captain Idris Wada, there was all this percentage salary. So when Governor Yahaya Bello came, he tried to see how he could screen the workers and see the original workers, so that the original workers, not ghost workers, because you find out that there were schools that salaries were being paid to staff for the entire school, the school that was not existing at all. During the screening exercise of Governor Yahaya Bello, he found out some of these things. A whole school receiving salary for entire staff that the school is not existing at all. So that problem has been on. And that has also affected the administration of Governor Yahaya Bello. So on the issue of backlog of salary, I totally agree with that. But Admiral Usman Jibril has promised that what he will do is to ensure that he increase the internally generated revenue. And then Kogi State, being a state that is blessed with virtually all the natural resources, he will see how he can improve on the revenue so that the backlog of salaries will be completely paid, so that Kogi State can begin to start afresh. And that is why he's talking about increasing the internally generated revenue. You cannot just come and say, no, I will pay salary. Where will you get the money to pay the salary from? So he has said, this is what I will do. And then you know that as a naval officer, we have a very big river. Kogi State is a confluent state. With the river, there's something can be done where we can generate revenue. Ships can begin to land even in Kogi State. It's a possibility that if you have Admiral Usman Jibril, this can be done. He has said that, and he has the experience, and he can do that.
Okay, I like that you said he can say that and he can do that. But I would like to still delve a bit into this zoning issue. Is there any zoning arrangements in Kogi State? You said the West has not produced any governor. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. So now, what zone, permit me to use that word, what zone is supposedly the next zone for this said election? Or everybody just doing it as, a free fall, anybody can actually become the governor irrespective of zoning? As it is now, the Kogi West that has not produced governor does not have a sellable candidate. Yes. They don't have a sellable candidate. They have Dino Melaye and Abejide. Dino Melaye cannot get vote because he's the most popular from that zone. That's the fact. Okay. And people see him as a comedian. They don't even take him serious. So since they don't take him serious, nobody... But he was once a senator. He represented that same zone. He was a senator by accident because at first, when he went to the Senate, it was during the time where votes were written. He was in PDP. And then in APC, during the formation of APC in 2015, anybody, even those who don't, even if you insult people, you go on campaign and insult people, they'll still vote for you because they felt that APC was coming to rescue Nigeria. So many people won election without campaigning then. So that was how he became senator again. So he has always been an accidental senator. And as an accidental, don't you think he could possibly become an accidental governor too?
It's not possible because now votes, his party is not strong in the state. That is number one. Number two, he is not a strong candidate. It's either you win election where you have a political party that is strong.
But what I like about popularity has a major role to play too in elections.
Popularity, if the character of the person contesting election matters a lot. The entire Kogi State don't even take Dino as a serious politician. Like if he goes to campaign, you see children coming to come and laugh. They think they compare him to Nollywood actors like Emeka Ike and the rest. So when he comes, you see, if you are an actor, people will like you, but if you contest election, you might not win. You can see many actors have contested election, they have lost. Of course, they love you. They want you to remain in your field of acting. It's a totally different thing for you to come and contest election. So when he goes for campaign, they come to look at him. The children come mostly to come and laugh because they see him. They mistake him for an actor because of his behavior and his kind of person, his acting style, and his life generally does not suit that of a leader. So they know that there's nothing he will be able to come and do as a governor. So nobody is taking him serious. So there are places, I bet you, after the election, you will see that in many places, Dino will score 0. Because anywhere you see Dino with votes, it is the number of votes he will record will tell you the number of people who cannot really think straight in the state. So it's not about people voting for Dino. It's just maybe you see maybe some few young men, those ones who are into crime or Yahoo, they will like him. These are the few persons that will vote for him. But even those who are into Yahoo, who have their senses intact, will still not vote for him because they don't take him serious. So now the West, which we are talking about, they don't have a candidate.
Don't say they don't have a candidate, because of course they do have candidates.
If you don't have a sellable candidate, it's the same as not having a candidate.
But
so
now,
now,
totally rule out that fact that there are people there. I mean, not one, 2 of them. That's a lot. That's a lot to ignore.
Abejide was backing on the support of the House of Rep member from Ikeja, that is Faleke. Faleke has gone to pitch his tent with Usman Ododo, the APC's candidate. So he has left Abejide alone now. So Abejide is also not contesting the election as far as we are concerned, because he was backing on Faleke to give him the necessary support. And Faleke has gone to support Ododo now. So now the West has no candidate for the election. So how can they win an election that they are not contesting?
But we even already know that zoning is actually unconstitutional in the election. So even mentioning zoning and all of that is not aside. That's aside. And then there's something new that has come to play now. I mean, judging from the past elections, and now you know that people do not just vote for the party; they vote for the person. I mean, we've seen it happen in several states. I mean, Abia State, for example. Although that one, it happened that they wanted Labour Party, and then maybe the candidate, of course, equalized with the person they wanted from that same party. But then, what do you think would be the advantage for your own party in this said election before we move to the next topic?
So many advantages.
Okay.
One, the character, the competence of the candidate. 2, the area where he comes from. Okay. Having the highest number of registered voters. 3, his maturity and acceptance, not only within the state, but across the entire country. So people from everywhere across the country are coming to give support, moral support, and prayers for him to emerge, because they see that he's the person that can rescue the state at the moment. Okay. So with all of this, he has advantage over all other candidates, because he is far ahead of all of them. There's no candidate which can be compared to him in this contest, and that is what is going for him. So the numerical strength, where he comes from, his capacity, his proven doggedness, and his experience. So he has everything going for him. So we are just waiting for November 11, where all of this will translate into votes, and then he will be declared as the governor-elect of Kogi State.
Okay, all right, then we'll look forward to that. Now, let's talk about INEC's preparedness for this said election. In your own opinion, do you think INEC is actually prepared enough for this particular election? Because, of course, we've heard so many now acclaimed promises, because before the presidential election, we thought most of these things were constitutional, only for the court to, of course, bring them out and say, oh, most of these things are promises, not in written down constitutions. So I'd like to get your own opinion about what are your expectations from INEC as regards this election.
Well, let me start by talking about the pronouncement of the court, especially the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court,
the Supreme Court being a policy court, the highest court of the land, where whatever is determined at that level can be used as a basis for determining other cases.
Okay.
But with the way Supreme Court is going now, they are about reaching a point where some cases will come, they will not know how to judge again because they are contradicting themselves. And if this contradiction continues, I don't know, maybe they will have to say that the case should be taken back and settled amicably among the parties because they will not know how to rule again. So, but in the case of INEC, I think they have learned from the last election. They will always continue to learn and improve, because you cannot completely blame them, because the politicians will always devise new methods that they will want to see how whatever arrangements INEC have put in place, they will be able to play around those arrangements and then do what they know how to do best. So I believe INEC, they have learned their lesson and they should be able to improve using KOGI, Bayelsa, and Imo election to improve on the last general election. So
but then apart from improving, are there commissions or stakeholders that are actually supposed to monitor these people to actually push them better? Because in the last election, and you see that in most of the court cases, say, oh, you are supposed to actually have your agents on ground to actually push through and monitor most of this thing. Are we looking at having stakeholders on ground and commissions and other parties and everybody coming together to say, oh, this has to be a different election coming from the INEC perspective?
It's going to be a different election in the sense that it's not election, it's going to be conducted in just 3 states. So INEC will be able to even monitor the election properly. Unlike the last general election that it was the entire country, it was more difficult. And also civil society organizations will be able to monitor. And you have organizations that are very responsible, like the NBA, the National Association of Nigerian Students and others, that they will also monitor and see that the election is conducted at least in a way that will be more transparent than what we had in 2023 general election. And
not just transparent, speaking about security, do you know if we have security agencies on ground? Of course, we know that Nigerian police force and everybody is going to be on ground fully. But then we hope there won't be a repetition of what happened in the previous election. I'd like you to get an insider, because of course every party is planning towards this said election. What's your own party doing as regards security issues?
Our party is not a security agency, and as such we can only mobilize our people, our agents, to come to see what is happening, and also encourage the Nigeria police to do the needful. By, of course, the Nigeria police will be able to do better because they have enough men that they will be able to mobilize in these 3 states, since it's not the entire country that the election will be conducted. So that's why we are hopeful that the security agencies will be able to do what is necessary. They can get mobilize most of their men from other states to come to these 3 states and ensure that the election is conducted in a more peaceful manner. Yes. Okay,
right. I'd like to read through from one of an open letter to Ajaka coming from one of the parties. But one of the questions they've asked is, it said, where was Ajaka and his family when an Iberian man was appointed as the first ambassador to Nigeria to England? That's one question. And they said, where was Ajaka and his family when an Iberian man presented the letter of independence of Nigeria to Queen Elizabeth of England prior before independence in 1960? It looks like there's lots surrounding this Ajaka. What is your own take on this whole battle going on?
I don't know why his name is repeatedly being mentioned. I think is giving him unnecessary attention, which he doesn't really deserve. Because I like to quote the French most celebrated military and political leader, Napoleon Bonaparte, where he succinctly and aptly phrased that when small men attempt great enterprises, they usually end by reducing them to the level of their mediocrity. Ajaka has been able to reduce the governorship race to his own level because it is a man that does not really have a secondary school certificate. So we do not even see him to have the moral capacity to be able to lead Kogi State. So when people talk about him, Ajaka, this is only portrays something that the level which we have descended in this country. A man who has not been able to successfully pass O-level should not be given this attention, where in a state where you have people, majority having master's degree.
Okay.
We are into politics. I'm doing another master's in Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. So where people and you have PhD, so many PhD holders in Kogi State. So at least we should not be reduced to that level of secondary certificate. How can the somebody who has not been able to pass secondary school examination, in my own opinion, does not have the mental capacity to lead a state, a complex state like Kogi State? Drop the sentiments which people have been talking about. You are Igala. And so what if you are Igala? Does that mean you bring any idiot to come and become governor because the idiot is an Igala man? We should not descend to that level. So I don't even want to speak about
okay, if you don't want to speak about that, there's no way we won't talk about Muri. Of course, he moved from...
Ajaka is the Muri.
Yeah, Ajaka is the Muri. So now, he said something in 2022, which some persons have quoted. They said, he said to Governor Yahaya Bello that he's a vibrant and energetic political leader whose antecedents continue to inspire hope in a new generation. That was in 2022. Now, in 2023, he's gone ahead and say Governor Bello is a common enemy and the problem of the state. It could even be said that this is just a normal banter between politicians, but then some persons have quoted it that how do you go from being friends and of course praising this person to all of a sudden the person is the enemy of the state? Don't you think it's just normal jabs? Of course, during elections, we've said we want peaceful elections where politicians don't throw jabs at each other, but then where is this coming from?
You have just proven what I said, that he doesn't have the mental capacity to lead a state like Kogi. You see that he has not been consistent. He said something in 2022 and he's saying the opposite in 2023. As at 2022, when he was saying that because he thought Yahaya Bello would just hand over the ticket of APC to him. And because Yahaya Bello did not do that, he lost out in the primaries. He is now accusing Yahaya Bello of being an enemy of the state, which we will not agree to that, because you cannot praise him. He worked for the emergence of Yahaya Bello in 2019 as against his own brother. Then now his own brother, in the sense that an Igala man was contesting election in 2019. He worked against him and supported Yahaya Bello, thinking that after 2023, Yahaya Bello will just hand over the state to him. So when that did not happen now, he has changed now and is accusing Yahaya Bello. He did even say on Channels television that Yahaya Bello is sponsoring Togri in Kogi State and see all of those things. Okay, why didn't he? A woman was burnt alive in 2019 when he was supporting Yahaya Bello. He didn't say anything against that. Okay, that was nothing, because he thought that Yahaya Bello was going to hand over to him in 2023. Because Yahaya Bello did not hand over to because he lost the primaries, now he's saying Yahaya Bello is the problem of the state. How can you take somebody like this serious? And those who are even supporting him, I think they also have a problem.
Well, speaking about how do you take him serious, so can this be said to be that most of these politicians are in the game for their selfish interests, not the game of the people?
A majority are in politics for their selfish interests, and that is what Muri has proven. Because I don't really take him serious, because in 2014 he had no 1 million naira in his account. I had over. I'm challenging him. Let him bring his statement of account. Let me bring my own. I had millions in my account as at 2014, before the formation of APC. Or during the formation of APC, as at the formation of APC, he had no 1 million naira in his account, and today he had billions in his account. Just between 2020 and 2022, he became a billionaire. That can only happen in a country like Nigeria, where anything goes. As far as I'm concerned, even the EFCC is a useless organization that is only after people who do not have the support of those in government. is a useless organization that should be cancelled. Because if you have somebody in government or you have money to throw around, no, but they can't even come to arrest me because I don't even have money. So I can say anything about the FCC. They can't trace any money to me because there's no even money to in my account already. So as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing they can't even frame me up. You can't. It's supposed to be AFCC, economic and financial crime. I'm not involved in any crime, any economic crime. So they cannot even forge anything. It's so on me. So it's an organization that is to be disbanded already. Because if somebody like Muri will come to contest the governorship election, it means it's a useless organization.
Well, speaking about that, I'd like you to connote this with President Tinubu appointing Governor Yaya Bello as a chairman of the party, chairman of the Committee on National Economic Council, that's NEC, on flood. Yes,
KOGI State is one of the states where that has been suffering.
But then you've not been able to fix it, have you?
We've not been able. It's not something a state can do.
Then it's not something. Here is my opinion.
Yes.
Yeah. Here is my opinion. If you want to appoint someone as the leader, that person must have had antecedents of being able to fix that stuff, correct?
No, if you have been able to do something and you need additional assistance, then you can be appointed. I'm not a spokesperson to Governor Yaya Bello. Okay. I'm only saying that the appointment is in order.
Okay.
Because KOGI State has been suffering. And we know the little effort which the governor has been making, even though we still believe that it's not enough. So giving him the position so that he will be able to rally around with other states that are suffering the same fate so that they can come together and then give them the support, because he already knows where the pains of the people, because these people are the ones suffering. Okay. So now appointing him is in order, because at least he has been able to do something, even though we still believe that it's not enough. So that is to encourage him to do more, and then for him to get the necessary support that will be needed to fix the problem permanently.
No, but do you think that problem can be fixed before he even leaves the office?
It's possible. With the political will, it's possible. Things that we take as if they are serious problem in this country are things that they are not serious at all. It's just that we are not a serious people in this country. That's just our problem. We are not a serious people. And if the white see us as animals, it means the white are serious people, because we are more or less like animals. The way
so you cannot possibly say
we are more or less like animals. How can you live? You have independence for about 63 years, yet you have crude oil, don't have a functional refinery. If anybody will insult Nigerians as animals, the person is right. If you are not an animal, how can you have crude oil in your backyard? You don't have functional refinery. You don't have 24 hours light up to this moment. Since 1999, in short, since when I was a little kid, the politicians have been campaigning using we'll build roads. Up till this moment, you don't have roads anywhere in this country. There's no part of this country where you can travel 500 kilometers without pothole. How can you take these people as we are very irresponsible in this country? Now we have to generalize. No exception at all, because where you have over 80% of people to be foolish, you can say conveniently that these people are foolish people. So we are not a serious human being in this country. From the leaders to the followers, we are very irresponsible, but the most irresponsible people are the leaders of this country. So I can't even understand how you have crude oil, you don't have a refinery. Even the president, that's why I don't really want to deviate, but a word of advice to the president: he's not a serious president at all. Because if you are serious, the monies you have generated from the removal of fuel subsidy, you should be able to do something very tangible. You cannot come in to speak English and say we feel the pains of the people. You don't feel any pains. If you feel the pains, you do the work that people will say that you are doing something. You don't feel any pains. If you are feeling the pains, are you not eating 3 times in a day? How do you feel the pains? Begin to starve yourself now, so that we know that we are all feeling hungry together. But when we are feeling hungry, you are eating the kind of food you want. You are taking. If you go to the villa now, there's amala, and there's a radio, and you are saying, which pains are you feeling? You want to travel, you fly. You are not feeling any pain, Mr. President. You are just talking. We know you are not feeling any pain. Yeah, you are not doing enough. Do something. You cannot have crude oil in your backyard. You don't have function. What does it take to build a refinery?
Well, we have a refinery, the Dangote refinery now, which is
that a government refinery? Is there how many? There's no fuel anywhere in the country now. I queued for the longest. I would have missed this program because I was queuing. So how can you say there?
Okay, let's say that you didn't miss the program. Okay, now let's get back to Kogi State. On the final note, do you think INEC could be able to actually play its role in ensuring democracy and democratic processes in Kogi State elections coming up?
We are hopeful. You see, we don't want to be hopeless in this country. Let's just continue to be hopeful. Even when there's no hope, we continue to say we are hopeful all the time. At least that will save us of hypertension. So that is good for us, so that we can continue to live maybe a fake healthy life. Because we just have to be hopeful. Because it's just like what is happening in religious houses these days. You come today, they give you hope. You see next year you are still hopeless, they still give you hope. They continue to give you hope, and nothing will change. And nothing has changed, and nothing will change. It has been like that. So we are hopeful that INEC will be able to do better this time around. So we are hopeful. That is a statement all the time.
Okay, speaking about being hopeful, what are you hopeful for? Because of course in the past election they've said revealing the results in real time, the electronic part is not composed. Now that the court has ruled in the favor of INEC, saying, oh, it wasn't constitutional, it was just a promise. So if anything happens in this said election and most of these results are not being transmitted in real time, is there going to be any issue with that, or will we just take it?
It will affect the credibility of the election if the results are not transmitted in real time. Yes, it will affect the credibility of the, irrespective of whatever the court decide. I have just told you here on this program that the contradictory judgment of even the Supreme Court, a time will come where Supreme Court will have to beg the parties to go back home and settle, because they don't know how to. They will not know how to determine the case again, because they must have given so many contradictory judgments, and it will be laughable. And as such, being the highest court of the land, they will have to call the parties and plead with them to go back and settle, if they continue like that. Yes. Okay, all right. So that is the situation, and that is where we are in this country now. Because you cannot say something that has to do with the credibility of an election. You cannot say, no, INEC has the right. Well, that is how they have said. But there is INEC has a responsibility of conducting a free and fair election. And transmitting results in real time will determine whether or not the election will be credible. So that what the National Assembly, they will have to do something and amend that part of the Constitution, so that transmitting the result live is input in the Constitution, so that we can have a more credible election. And in short, the Constitution is also a problem. That's why in this country we are in a serious problem. You cannot also conduct election where somebody is sworn in and then you come, the same person is going to court. We should be able to, the Constitution should be amended so that once you are sworn, all the court cases should be completely determined. And once you are sworn in, you continue the business of governance, so that there should not be all this distraction here and there, where the Constitution is encouraging bribery and corruption. Because if you are already on that seat and there's a need for you to dish out some money to these judges who will always be ready to accept them, to give you a favorable judgment. You are rightly saying that our judiciary has been compromised. Seriously compromised is something that everybody knows. Seriously compromised, not even compromised. If you have any case in the court, it takes the grace of God, not that you can never have a good case if you don't have something to compromise the judges. You can never. It's a fact in this country that we should not be shying away from. We have been running away from the truth, and the whole country is bastardized already. People are already in the state of confusion. You see people now, you can count the number of sane people already in the country, because we have an enormous problem. Even those in the real life, you go to the president now, he's a confused man, and that's why you see that the dollar is increasing every day. So it has even come to a time now that we might have to come and beg, so that this independence is taken away, so that we become slaves again, at least to become free slaves. Because this freedom, I can't see any freedom. See the way the dollar is increasing on the daily basis. See the economy, everything has turned upside down. So it is because if you don't have credible elections that will produce credible leaders, you can never have a good country. So elections must be conducted in a credible, and if you do not have a system, a judicial system where people can have confidence in, then the country is finished. And as it is today, most Nigerians, I'm speaking the minds of Nigerians, not my own opinion, most Nigerians don't have confidence in the judiciary. And even if you have confidence in the judiciary, you need a lot of resources, because they can tactically rule against you, in the sense that they keep on adjourning until you be tired. You on your own, you will no longer go to the court again. So it takes somebody with enough resources to be able to go to court in Nigeria. So it should not be so. So we are in a serious mess.
I hope you do have facts to back up all of these claims when the time comes.
Which claims you need facts again? That we have a very corrupt...
Because if you're saying judiciary is compromised, then that means you've experienced it one-on-one.
A senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria was on live TV during their valedictory. He said that he used to influence judgment because his wife was a high court judge or something like that.
He later came out to say that was not what he meant.
Not what he said is what we will use now. Okay, you also you are saying, do I have evidence because of what I have said? So it's what you say that they will ask you for evidence now. It is not what you mean. How do you know what I mean in my mind? So it's what you say they use to judge. And if a senator will say, my wife, you influence judgment because he doesn't, if your wife is not a judge, then you have to give money now so that you can also influence. So if a senator, because he's the husband, can influence, then if you are not the husband, you give money to influence. All you are influencing. What you are saying, if you are influencing judgment, it means the system is bad. So that is my evidence that it is, and the judgments they have given so far shows that even if you are not a lawyer, you know that definitely they are not reading from any constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, because you cannot be giving contradictory judgment. You cannot be going, a lower court cannot be giving judgment against the highest court of the land. So what evidence do you need again? That is the confirmation that the judicial system is highly corrupt.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Atiku Abubakar. We'll have another time before elections. Of course, the mock accreditation elections will take place on Saturday. That's this Saturday.
Yes.
And we'll have you after that one, of course, to discuss more on KOGI State gubernatorial elections. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, our viewers at home, this is where we draw the curtain for the POLITY this afternoon. Thank you for staying with us on the program, and we sure our guests did a perfect explanation to most of our questions. And of course, you'll be joining us tomorrow too on the POLITY, same time, same station. I remain Messi. Babajide. See you tomorrow. Bye.